So I was asked a question, what are the benefits and how do I use chickweed? So let's cover that. Chickweed benefits are vast. Uses are just as many, and how you prepare it is going to differ. So hang with me. We're going to cover all this today. What is in chickweed? The nutrients are vitamin C, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium as well, and calcium. Whenever we introduce those, including flavonoids, which make it an antioxidant. So having those type of nutrients also constitutes and tells you what an herb can be used for, what its benefits are, and how they will react within your body. The first preparation I want to talk to you on chickweed is using it fresh as a tea or in your tossed salad. It is a crispy green and it's full of that nice juiciness of wetness, and even where it grows will be where there's moisture retention. Driveways, edges of gardenings, in the garden, and different places about your house that will be in your more shaded conditions, and it will grow there. And it can grow anywhere from 6 to 10 inches long. Some of them may be even longer. And when you gather it in a little pile, they're just so beautiful, and they just slide right out of the ground. They usually have just one little root that's growing them and holding them into place. How do we use chickweed? What are the best ways we can use it? Let's say we're going to brew it as a tea. Now, the benefits of brewing it as a tea is if you are an individual who is running a mild fever, you have cold or flu, you are going to benefit in many ways because chickweed has the ability to break up mucus and dry it up. Break it down so that you can move the mucus from out of the system, whether it be in the lungs and all of the upper respiratory area, free up your breathing and reduce that mucus, help dry it up. It works as an antipyretic, which means it reduces fever. So inflammation as well. So if you have swollen, sore muscles, pains, and joints, and the aches that are associated with a cold or a flu, chickweed is also going to help with that. Right? So let's think about if we need it for a longer term. Now we've dried out our chickweed. What can we do with it? Let's make a tincture. If you make a tincture and you want to use either Everclear or vodka, just make sure it's 80 proof or above for your tinctures. And when you make the tincture, you can administer yourself up to 15 drops and maybe put it in orange juice so that it will cover up the taste. But you only need a small amount of orange juice, just a little teeny bit. Put the drops in there, say an ounce of orange juice, and drink it. That's going to last you about 4 hours that tincture is going to stay in your system because it's absorbed hypholytically, which means teeth, gums, jaw area, before it even has a chance to have to go through your digestive tract. So it's effective immediately, and that way it starts going to work for you. It's already introduced into the bloodstream and doing its job. Okay, let's say you're dealing with constipation and you are having trouble with that. It's keeping moisture in your body, and maybe you need to add water, of course, to stay hydrated, and make sure you're not dehydrated, because when we get sick, a lot of times we start dehydrating immediately. Our body's soaking up all that we need to keep our body running, keep the systems on go. So you can actually use chickweed if you're an individual who constantly suffers of constipation. Here are other benefits you're going to love about this. Chickweed has the ability to moisten and hydrate, as well as be astringent in soothing those irritated muscles. Anything with the intestines and digestive tract, your stomach, and move those things out. So it's keeping moisture in there, but also pulling it to the waste product so it doesn't have the ability to re-enter the bloodstream and moving it out. They're not going to be like super loose, but they will be smooth like they should be. And so let's think about the other benefits. Chickweed is excellent. Now, this is one thing you're going to hear different than other things I've talked about. Chickweed, because of the nutrients it has in it. Remember I told you it has calcium, it has potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, and flavonoids, as well as all these trace nutrients that are in there with it. It has this wonderful ability to combat osteoarthritis. Isn't that amazing? And rheumatoid arthritis. So you can combat osteoarthritis, anything to do with joint and muscle pain, as well as rheumatism. Now, what's so unusual about that is most herbs will be beneficial in helping with the things that are arthritis associated. The things that are within the blood, such as rheumatism, osteoarthritis, as well as pain in the muscles and nerves, the chickweed has the ability to combat. When we deal with reducing inflammation, chickweed has that magic ability. It's just incredible to bring down inflammation, take down all the swelling, and move toxins out of the system. When it's moving toxins out of the system, that means it has the ability to purify the blood. And chickweed can purify the blood. So a lot of people don't understand chickweed, because in years ago, chickweed was really talked about and known about many decades ago. And since then, it has now hit mainstream again, and people are starting to realize just how wonderful this herb is. And even though it grows wild all about, no one imagined that it could do so much, and that it did so much. And I have been approached with this question over and over again. What does chickweed do? What is it good for? Now, let's say externally. I love to share this information with you. And if you're enjoying this video or this podcast, please give it a like. Be sure to follow and share it with someone who might just benefit. Let's approach chickweed. What can chickweed do for me externally? So if you're an individual who has extremely dry skin, or maybe you deal with eczema, maybe acne, and you have eruptions that occur, but extremely dry skin diseases of any sort, you can benefit from chickweed. And you would definitely want to take that chickweed and cleanse any kind of infected wound. So if you have a rash, or you become allergic or infected and have an external wound on your body, you can use it as a cleansing wash. So you'd brew it into a strong tea, and then you would apply. To get specific directions on brewing the tea is really simple. I'll put it in the description box down below, and as well as in the comment box on podcast. But to make it short and sweet for you, I carry products made with chickweed. So they're already used, being able to be administered, whether it be a tincture or a salve, a cream, and even loose, dried, so that you can make your own applications. In short, you're going to brew it as a strong tea. Now, when you make a strong tea, commonly 1 cup of tea that can be 4 to 6 ounces, not one. A lot of people think it's 8 ounces. No, because we say a cup of tea. Commonly, when you're making a medicinal tea, you only use 4 ounces of water, and you double it up. So if you use a teaspoon for a 4-ounce cup, you want to use 2 teaspoons per 4-ounce cup. Make it very strong, and you can still drink it and sip on it, or you can use that for your wound wash. If you're using a tincture, I would prefer not to give you those instructions via this video. That would be something that you would maybe want to check out the link down below, or look in the comment box for more details on how to make a medicinal tincture. Even though it would be better for you to purchase it. That way, the integrity of that product is correct. There's no mold, no mildew, and nothing gained up that you need to be fearful of. Tinctures last 50 years, so it's not going to go bad. So no matter what price you're paying the tincture, I would ask you to definitely employ me and purchase the tincture. You can check out the website at dandelionsoap.com to purchase the chickweed tincture for your personal use. As I said, those things last 25, 50 years. They don't expire. And you can purchase a small bottle or a large bottle for your use. The same with the creams externally. Unless you are willing to invest in purchasing all these raw ingredients to make these salves, you can make the home style kind, which is basically where you use beeswax and olive oil or one of your refined oils, and you can make that together. You're basically going to use 1/3 beeswax to whatever your count of oil is. For example, if it's a cup of oil and 1/3 of 1 8-ounce cup of oil steeped with the chickweed, you're going to simmer that over in a pot on the stove. It's better for a double boiler, but if you don't have one, just put it on low heat and put your dry chickweed in there and let it simmer. Simmer 30 to 45 minutes and strain the herb out of the oil. Make sure you capture it into a nice sanitized glass vessel of some kind with a lid. All right, so you can store that in a nice little glass jar container. You can also purchase those through Dandelion and place it in there. Normally, I will take and repurpose a jar in my house. So if I've used something or some kind of sauce or something I bought, I will just clean and sanitize that jar. I'll even run it through the dishwasher just for a double insurance. And then if you really want to make sure triple insurance, put some alcohol, rubbing alcohol in there, and make sure that you go all around inside the vessel and let any of it left over evaporate, which only takes a few minutes. Now your vessel is ready to capture your strained herb. But we're not done yet. We need to strain that steeped oil into the pot again. So put it in a different pot or catch it in a glass measuring cup and then put it back into the same pot once you clean the pot up and discard the spent herbs that you used of the chickweed. Now you're going to place the oil back in the pot. You want to put 1 ounce, are you following me? 1 ounce, or that could be, 6 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons of beeswax into that oil. Melt the beeswax. So you only want to warm that oil up enough that it will melt the beeswax and incorporate it really good into your chickweed infused oil. Now, once you've got the beeswax melted, grab your sanitized vessel that you're capturing in your glass container and pour it into it. Make sure you label it with the date and what it is that you made, and also include what you could use it for. That helps you to retain the information and to remember. So remember, you can place that on infected wounds, rashes, dry skin, or anything that you're treating, such as rheumatism, osteoarthritis, sore, muscle pain, and nerve pain. And just apply it on that affected area. And just use it on a regular basis or as you need. And therefore, you get the benefits externally. And as I said before, it does away with that dry skin. It's a very great aid for dry skin. Here at Dandelion Soap, I like to incorporate other herbs that are also benefiting and add some additional oils. And sometimes I even incorporate that into a goat milk lotion so that you can benefit for a longer period of time. And there are other things that I can use that are natural preservatives. Beeswax will preserve your oil for a long, long period of time. So if you're steeping your own chickweed into oil, straining it out, and introduce the beeswax into it, you can actually keep that for a long period of time. Just make sure you keep it somewhere where it's cool and dark and it's not being introduced to ever-changing environmental temperature conditions, such as the bathroom. In the bathroom, we get it steamy and hot when we shower, and then it gets cool when no one's in there using it, and then it gets hot and steamy in the shower, and then it cools when it's not being used. So the bathroom is not the ideal place that you would like to store your medicinal chickweed salve that you've just made. Store it in a kitchen cabinet, and high up is preferable. I know that it is very common that most of the time when we're struck with something, it's going to occur when we're in our living space. We've just been dwelling around in that same living space, which is commonly our kitchen. So find you a nice medicine cabinet and store all those in your medicine cabinet in the kitchen. because the bathroom is going to be the furthest distance and the less likely place and the ever-changing temperature conditions. So it's not ideal for storing any of your apothecary. If anything, create you a hutch in your kitchen, make that your cold pantry, and place the cream there. That's what I do. So just sharing with you some little tidbits there. If there are any more benefits and ways to prepare chickweed that I haven't covered, just know that they do dwell in that. Do check it out. Do read and look for it. Always be your own teacher by being a student of knowledge and learning as much as you can about all the wonderful medicinal plants that God has populated upon this earth. There is a plant for every single disease that humans will incur. It's a matter of figuring out which plant for which disease. And that is why Elizabeth here, herbalist, calls herself the bridge between the person and the plant, or the person and the remedy, and filling in the blank in between, being that bridge for you to help you be better, to improve your health, and take a proactive approach to how you handle it, and being a great problem solver by using medicines that are already natural enough that you can use them safely, and there's no worry, and it's free. If you live in a place like I do where you have these naturally wild growing plants, you can gather them. They are there for your taking. They're there for your use, and just educate yourself on how can I use this? What is it used for? What are the different things? And if any of these complications apply to you, try it. You have nothing to lose. And if it doesn't work out for you, you can move on and try a different herb and see if it does it even better. But I'd say have your arsenal full of many different choices. Don't limit yourself to just one. And you can always make these great gifts for other friends. Call upon me and order your supply. I'll be glad to drop ship them wherever you like. And the great thing about it is if you have any questions, you can always ask me. You have me right there on that phone or by email. And you can even check me out on Facebook. I'm on all social medias, and I try to make this information as readily available to you as possible. Listen to the podcast. You'll get an education while you're driving. And what better way to do it? I even include background music so that it's more pleasant. And I am so southern and get tongue twisted because I get so excited to share these things with you. I love sharing this information with you. And maybe eventually I'll get a book made and put it all into a book and make it easy reference. Maybe it'll be an ebook and you can just look it up and just look it up by name. This is my problem. Let me use this. And that would just be wonderful. But I did want to let you know that there are so many things you can use it for. So let me give you a bonus. If you've stayed this long and you've listened this long and watched this video this long, I'm going to give you a bonus. And the bonus is chickweed actually fights germs. Now, a lot of people would never think to make a hand wash out of this or to incorporate it into soap or even steep it into a soap dispenser by maybe making a water part and then placing that little bit of steeped chickweed into your soap foaming bottle with the already made soap. Just make a small amount. You can make your own, and we won't go into that today, but I did want to add that bonus. It fights germs. So that's why it's wonderful for a wound wash. It's excellent for treating any kind of infected, angry wounds and sores, rashes, and dry skin. And then once again, it is the one herb you can go to for rheumatism, osteoarthritis, and muscle nerve pain. And we know that's associated with anything from neuropathy to multiple sclerosis and even muscular dystrophy. So there are things that you can use that herb for. Now, those are some really intense pains and nerve and muscle issues. So therefore, you can just try it, see how it works, because that's something you are constantly having to change up and try something different for a while and then revert back to what you were using before. But just know it fights germs. So what you can do is you can make some of the chickweed, steep it in the sun maybe, fix you some water and steep it out there in the hot sun. Or just put it on the stove, steep it fresh or dry, And then you can strain that out and add that to your soap foamer so that you can use it and benefit. And it's not really hard to do. I make it all the time. It's just no problem whatsoever. But there are so many more things I can share with you on chickweed. And I do want to share those with you. And I'll break them down one at a time. I'll even do a blog so you can refer to that if you ever forget. But always keep this one in your library. You can refer to it often. So what are the benefits of chickweed? What are the uses of chickweed? And how many ways can I prepare it and apply it? And that is Elizabeth, being the bridge. Thank you so much for listening to Just Dandy Podcast. Thank you so much for viewing Dandelion Soap. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, follow, click like, give me a great review. That helps me so much. And share it everywhere. Share it everywhere. Let everyone else know. Now, listen to me. You go out there. You chase the moon. And you have the spirit of a dandelion. And until the next one, this is Elizabeth. Over and out. Bye.